Yo, what is going on, everybody? Shri Kanase here. So how to overcome inconsistencies with Google Ads. Now, just like any platform out there, Google has its ups and downs. And in these recent past few weeks and these recent past few months, I've definitely begun to notice a lot more inconsistencies when it comes to Google Ads. But the beauty about Google Ads is that there are specific techniques available which you can immediately implement right away to deal with these inconsistencies and basically just kind of eliminate it. This is very different from Facebook, where with Facebook, inconsistencies can literally be caused by the platform itself. And it may be a little bit more hard to fix, especially during times when Facebook's algorithm itself is going through changes or the platform itself is going through changes. So with the Google Ads, it's not really the same because the platform itself doesn't go through too many changes. The changes that can be made to your specific campaigns are all in your control, and it is fully in your control to lower these inconsistencies. But without wasting any more time, let's find out exactly how to deal with these inconsistencies and how to overcome them. So the first thing you'll have to do in order to overcome inconsistencies is destroy that like button down below. Just kidding, but hopefully you do that anyways. I'll really appreciate it. Okay, hopefully I've done that. But before actually talking about the specific strategies, it's important to understand why these inconsistencies happen, because without really having a full grasp as to why they're happening, you really won't be able to find out exactly what is wrong with your ad account, why these inconsistencies are happening, and how to resolve them, because every single one of these specific things which I'm about to mention has a different solution to it. The first thing is that new users are searching for products each day, and this could literally be the number one reason for inconsistency for about 90% of the ad accounts out there. Let's face it, the reality behind Google Ads is that if a product is getting searched on a given day, only then will your ad have the possibility of even showing up for it. So for example, if you're selling a printer, and if today, for example, nobody is searching for the keyword printer, your printer will simply not spend any money inside your Google Ads campaign, and you will not get any sales, period. But tomorrow, if people again start searching for the keyword printer or something related to that, your ad for that given product will start showing and will start spending money. And you could easily label this as an inconsistency, but in reality, this is just the natural process of how Google works. Not every day is going to be the same with the search volume, because every single day new users are entering and old users are leaving. I mean, there's only so many printers one specific person can really buy. So once they have purchased that printer, they will leave that market and stop searching for that product. And you will only be consistent again when somebody else replaces that person that just left and starts searching or starts wanting to buy a printer. And that is exactly why it's so important to find products with good monthly search volume, specifically above 20,000 to 30,000. I'll be going more in depth into that very shortly. But the second thing is changing competitors. Now, just like new people entering and exiting the market for a given product, new competitors enter and exit the market every single day for any given product. You have to understand that you're not the only dropshipper out there. You're not the only online business out there. Literally anybody else, including Walmart, Target, Amazon, could simply come in and take the sales from you, which is why you could be simply dealing with these inconsistencies. And this is also one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people face inconsistencies in the first place. But the main reason why competitors directly impact this consistency or inconsistency is simply because of the changing budgets, changing bids, or changing ad ranks. Now, when somebody, specifically a competitor, increases their budget by 2 times, Google, first of all, is a business. It wants to take all of your money, and it will do its best to spend as much money as possible. So when a competitor increases his or her budget by 2 times, Google is going to try to spend all of that money. That means maybe even overranking above you in the auction for that given printer or just about any product you're selling. So when that happens, the specific competitor has a higher chance of showing up for that given keyword and then just taking the sale. So this also leads to inconsistencies. The second thing I mentioned is bids, because again, if a competitor increases their bids by 10 cents, 20 cents, 100 cents, of course they're going to be winning more auctions because they're just throwing money at Google. And by the way, that may not be the best technique to go about doing this, but a lot of people do this, and then they end up coming in and taking a lot of the sales, which causes a lot of inconsistencies for those other people bidding low. But this is also followed by a change in ad rank. A lot of people don't end up changing the bids directly, but they end up maybe increasing the CTRs of their overall campaign. They make some specific changes which basically boosts the CTR, and this directly impacts the ad rank along with the bid. So when these two things are changed, that's when they start winning more auctions. So you might end up winning much lower amount of auctions, and when this happens, this is going to lead to a lot of inconsistencies. But third thing is changing changing product demands. Let's face it, not every product is a year-round winning product. It's going to eventually die out, especially if it's like a trendy product or a seasonal product. So if you're not really sure as to why you're facing inconsistencies, number one thing you want to do is go on Google Trends, search up the main keyword related to that product, and just see how that trend is looking. Is it upwards in a specific month? Is it downwards in the other months, etc.? And of course, seasonality. If you try to sell an air conditioner in wintertime, it is not gonna sell, period. No matter what you do, no matter what your pricing is. Sure, you'll sell one or two, but you'll definitely face a lot of inconsistencies. So these two things directly impact inconsistency as well. Now, the next thing is changing keyword searches. Again, if a large amount of audience today is searching for portable air conditioner, and then in the next 3 months or in the next 4 months, that keyword has completely changed to maybe portable air fan or something like that. That basically means that the keyword portable air conditioner has basically now gone extinct, and it will not really be searched as more anymore. So this change in keyword volume really impacts your campaigns as well, because your Google Ads campaign, it doesn't have a brain of its own. It's basically working on the set of code. So the code was mentioning that the portable air conditioner keyword was winning before, and it's still trying to show your campaign and your products for that keyword, which just doesn't work anymore. So this again will cause a lot of inconsistencies until Google kind of just basically gets the idea that old keyword is no longer available and the new keyword is portable air fan. And that is why you really want to give Google a little bit more time just to kind of optimize and let the campaign get back to working order and not make too many changes. In fact, nowadays, I recommend making changes every 7 days or so, nothing below that. But the final thing, in my opinion, that really significantly impacts inconsistency and makes them occur in the first place is merchant center issues. Now, you want to be making sure that your product feed has literally 0 errors or close to 0 as possible, because having any types of errors in your product feed from the merchant center is a big red flag for Google Ads and for your campaigns, because Google deems this as a fault with your product and your website, and it simply thinks that you are not worthy enough of having your product shown to their general audience, because again, it's Google's traffic, it's Google's audience, and they want only the best product feeds shown in the auction. So immediately, if you have merchant center issues, you're just going to be cut off from these auctions, a lot of them specifically, depending on the percentage of errors you have. And this will of course lead to a lot of inconsistencies, because every day Google will just decide a different product to show to the general audience, and your sales may differ based on that. So it's really crucial that you make sure that your merchant center is fully optimized and fully working order before you make any changes on your actual products or on the actual Shopify store itself. But now that we've gone over the specific things which actually cause inconsistencies, how do you deal with this and exactly what do you do? Well, there are several things that you can do, which I'll be going over right now. The first thing is lowering the budget. Now, one thing before I explain why you should lower the budget, you want to understand is that a high budget is usually going to mean more room for Google to waste your money on ad spend and just spend it all basically as much as it can, because again, as I mentioned earlier, Google is a business. It wants your money, period. So this is going to lead to low quality traffic, especially if your budget is a ridiculous amount, like $1,000 a day or $10,000 a day. As much as intelligent Google's system is, unfortunately, they are of course money driven, and they want your money, again, as I said. So you want to make sure that your budget is optimal and running at optimal speeds. What that means is that, let's say your budget is at $1,000 a day, but you're noticing that on 5 out of the 7 days on average, your campaign is only spending $200. You want to lower the budget all the way down to around $250, just a little bit above what it's spending on average, for best results, because again, that really limits the amount of wasted ad spend that you have on the product, and then make sure that Google is actually giving you the best quality traffic possible, so that you can of course have lower amount of inconsistency. So number one thing that you can do is lower the budget. Number two thing is lower the bid, because again, with a higher bid, there's more room for Google to just enter any kind of auction it wants, and it doesn't really matter at that point what keyword it's ranking for, because again, it wants your money, and this is going to in turn lead to more wasted ad spend for you. So you really don't want Google just unnecessarily spending your hard-earned money. So you want kind of to lower the specific bid maybe by 5, 10, even 20 cents, depending on what your bid is at the moment. Right now, for general testing campaigns, which basically test all the products, I recommend a general bid of 40 cents to 55 cents, nothing more or nothing less, to be most competitive for those specific products. But again, as I said, it's going to lead to unwanted auctions that you have won simply because of the high bid that you have. And this will lead to a lot of unnecessarily or irrelevant keywords which really don't match the products you're selling. So you really don't want that. You want your campaigns to be running at optimal speeds and running at optimal pace with the right amount of keywords and the right relevant keywords. So number 2 thing you can do is lower the bid. And by the way, you want to be doing any of these steps individually and then waiting a period of 7 to 14 days before making any other changes, because I really recommend that you try all of these things together on all of your campaigns after you, of course, do each one individually and wait a certain amount of time, because if you do everything at once, you really won't know what is working and what is not working. But that brings me to my next point, which is excluding specific products with less than 1 click or over 500 impressions. Now, this is extremely easy to do, and this is something you should be doing every 3 days or so, simply because as you have added more and more products, you're going to get those bad products which simply are not winning products at all. And in fact, they'll have 0 clicks after even 500 impressions. And usually 500 impressions is a good amount to know whether a product is a winner or not. So at that point, just simply exclude that product. It's going to lead to much lower amount of inconsistencies so that your ad campaigns don't spend unnecessary money, because when it spends unnecessary money on these products, it's wasting the money that could be spent on the winning products, which is again going to lead to inconsistency. So that's an easy number 3. Now let's move on to number 4, and that is excluding products with less than or equal to 0.35% CTR and or changing the main product image. So these specific 2 options, you can either just exclude the product if you really believe that the product with a lower amount of CTR than this number right here is not going to sell, or if you have some kind of faith in that product, or you run a branded store where you only have one product on the store and you really need to make it work. That's when you can go in and change the main product images, because once you change the main product images, that's when your CTR will change, and that's when basically the inconsistency will kind of lower down or basically fully stop. So this is actually what I really recommend that you do as well for a lot of the products, especially if you run a general store, because every product has a good chance of becoming a winner if you did the right steps with choosing the right image. And I have a whole playlist on Google Ads on how to choose the right image, how to make a description, etc. You can watch that video after this one. I'll leave the link in the description below. But simply exclude the products or change the product images. Now let's move on to our next one, and that is specifically excluding keywords with less than or equal to 0.5% of CTR. Now keywords, again, as I said already, are very, very important. So anytime you have a keyword that's usually less than 0.5%, I just end up excluding that keyword, no questions asked, because that is just making the quality of your overall keyword section and your overall campaign very, very low, and it's going to lead to a lot of inconsistencies. So if you don't want to be facing those inconsistencies, simply exclude those keywords. But here's one disclaimer: if the keyword with less than 0.5% of CTR has sales, do not exclude that keyword, because obviously it's working even with a low CTR. So in that case only, you want to just leave it running. But otherwise, all the other keywords are up for grabs when it comes to excluding, and we're doing this again to lower the inconsistencies and increase overall sales. But the final thing you can do that is on my list is add products with consistent search volume. This is literally one of the most important things you can do. Simply find products with 20 to 30K each month volume, and make sure that there are no dips or peaks in the volume. So it should either be a straight line or some ups and downs, but nothing too drastic. For example, if you searched up the keyword portable air conditioner in the keyword planner tool, you'll see a very, very huge spike in May, June, July, August, and then a dip down to basically flat at 0 in September, October, November, and so forth. So those kinds of products, of course, are very, very seasonal. It's expected that those will be very, very inconsistent as well. So if you don't really want to deal with those inconsistencies and you really can't handle it, simply find those products with a straight line or very, very little ups and downs, because that is what will sell consistently year round and have the lowest chance of having those inconsistencies in the first place. But if you found any type of value in this video, smash that like button and smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.